Walter Mitty, a negative assets manager at Life magazine, had a crush on his coworker Cheryl but never dared to talk to her. One morning, he browsed her profile on eHarmony. Despite Cheryl being a single parent who liked adventurous men, the introverted and anxious Walter summoned the courage to send her a wink message. However, the app encountered an error. He tried again, but the error persisted. Frustrated, he walked to work, heading to the train station. While waiting for the train, he called the dating app support to report the issue. The operator informed him that he needed to complete his profile first. Walter realized that his profile had many blank sections, reflecting his uneventful and adventureless life, and found himself stuck, unable to respond because his life had been quite dull. As he was on the call, he suddenly noticed something strange happening in the building across from him. Then, he broke through a window and saved Cheryl's dog. But it was all in his imagination. As a result of his daydreaming, Walter missed the train. When Walter arrived at the office, he met his sister, Odessa, who handed him a cake from their mother for his 42nd birthday. He then greeted his co-workers and learned that Life magazine, where he worked, was transitioning to an online format and laying off some employees. Before heading to his space, Walter made himself some coffee. While doing so, he spotted Cheryl and drifted into an imaginative daydream, where he returned from Mount Everest with his falcon to greet her. Ted, Walter's new manager, noticed his daydreaming and snapped him out of it by throwing paper clips at him. When he finally reached his space, he met his best friend and subordinate in the negative film division, Hernando. Hernando told him that there was a birthday gift box on his desk from Sean, a photographer for Life magazine. Inside the box, Walter found a roll of photo negatives, a wallet, and a letter thanking him for his hard work over the past 16 years. Sean, whose photos Walter had turned into masterpieces for Life, mentioned that photo number 25 was the best one he had sent. Upon checking, Walter realized that photo number 25 was missing. As he tried to figure out what to do, a coworker came by and asked him to bring photo number 25 from Sean to an immediate meeting. Panicked, Walter told his assistant to keep searching while he attempted to buy time in the meeting. The manager announced that the next magazine publication would be their last as Life transitioned to an online format. The manager then asked Walter to show the printout of photo number 25, intended for the final magazine cover. Nervously, Walter requested more time because the photo was still missing. After the meeting, Walter gathered the courage to talk to Cheryl and explain the situation, knowing that Cheryl worked in the photo recording division. He asked for Sean's address, but unfortunately, Sean didn't have a permanent address and was constantly traveling. Cheryl suggested tracking Sean through his payout records and promised to help Walter find him. During break time, Walter's sister informed him that she had managed to recover their father's piano, which had previously been sold. However, their apartment was too small to accommodate it. As the main breadwinner, Walter had to spend a significant amount of money to move to a larger apartment. While packing their belongings, Walter, his mother, and his sister found a framed newspaper clipping of the day Walter won a skateboard tournament with his mohawk hair, a moment that had made their late dad so proud. Before heading back to the office, his sister gave him a birthday gift, a pull-out toy that had been his favorite when he was little. When he arrived at the office, his coworker Hernando told him he had found a clue about Sean. One of the photos Sean said depicted a ship named Erkiksnik. Hernando was certain that Sean was on that ship. Walter then encountered Ted in the elevator. He demanded that Walter provide the cover photo for magazine issue number 25 immediately. He also criticized Walter for carrying a toy, insisting that he hand it over. They tussled over the toy, fighting and fighting and fighting.
Jelly man toy! Give it to me! You can't just...
But this was another one of Walter's imaginations. He snapped back to reality when Ted touched his forehead and threatened to fire him if he didn't produce photo number 25 by their next meeting. Walter received a call from Todd, the customer service of eHarmony, who urged him to complete his profile on the site and suggested he speak directly to Cheryl since they worked together. Walter then approached Cheryl and told her about the photo of the ship named Elixir. They tried to find the ship's location online, but couldn't get a signal. Cheryl invited Walter to pick up her child, who was skateboarding in the park, while they searched for a signal. At the park, Cheryl received a phone call with news about Sean's whereabouts. While she was on the call, Walter tried to bond with her son by teaching him some skateboarding tricks. Despite his geeky appearance, Walter proved to be quite skilled at skateboarding. After the call, Cheryl informed Walter that Sean was likely in Greenland. Walter felt a mix of happiness and confusion. While part of the mystery was solved, the journey from America to Greenland was daunting. When Cheryl said she had to leave, Walter fantasized about growing old with her.
Moment count starting now.
I have that bed. I don't really know how it works, but cool.
I bought it at a doll store full of sport knocks.
I love you, baby.
Thank you for such a...
Just nestle in here.
Walter! Walter!
I
have to go.
Yeah. Back at the office, he continued to worry about what would happen if he couldn't find photo number 25. In his daydream, Sean encouraged him to step out of his comfort zone and search for him in Greenland.
Walter!
Never really know what's going on. Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out.
Upon arriving in Greenland, Walter rented a car for transportation. He went to a bar to gather information about the Elixir ship. After ordering a small drink, Walter was chatting with the bartender when a drunk man came up to him and insisted that he sing with him. When Walter refused, the man became annoyed and started a fight. During the altercation, Walter noticed a ring on the man's thumb, similar to one in one of Sean's photos. Hearing Sean's name, the man stopped hitting Walter and explained that Sean had indeed been there a few days ago and had taken a photo of his hand. The man, a package delivery person, was about to deliver a package to the Elixir ship and invited Walter to come along in his helicopter, hoping Sean would still be there. At first, Walter refused because the weather looked bad and the man was still very drunk. After learning of Walter's rejection, the man left the bar, walked to his helicopter, and talked to a dog before getting in. Then Walter fantasized, imagining Cheryl singing a song in the bar, and finally decided to chase after the man and get in the helicopter heading to the ship where Sean was supposed to be.
Hear me out, hear me out. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets.
When they arrived at the ship, the man told Walter to jump onto it while carrying the package. With newfound confidence, Walter jumped, but he fell into the ocean and the package he was carrying sank. Walter tried to reach the surface and saw what he thought was a dolphin, but it was actually a shark. The people on the ship were trying to save him.
Oh my god! Oh my god.
Fortunately, he managed to survive. The ship's captain told Walter that Sean had moved to another ship and gone to Iceland. Since the radio had fallen into the sea, they couldn't reach anyone, so Walter had to wait until they docked. In the evening, the crew members welcomed Walter warmly, and even gave him a cake. He mentioned that the cake was a gift from Sean when he stayed on the ship. As Walter ate, he noticed that the paper wrapping the cake had the words IF Joel, IFIO, IF, IFI written on it. The crew told him that IFI was the name of a volcano in Iceland. Walter realized he had a new clue about Sean's whereabouts. When they reached the port, Walter was urged to hurry because there was only one vehicle available in the area, but many people were vying for the bike. Realizing this, he ran as fast as he could and managed to grab it. He then continued his journey toward the volcano. While enjoying the view, Walter got a call from Todd, the dating app operator, who said his profile hadn't received any winks despite mentioning his trip to Phoenix. Walter shared he'd nearly been eaten by a shark in Greenland. Todd was amazed, but Walter said he couldn't talk much because he was heading to IFI. After the call, Walter saw birds flying in a group and imagined they formed Cheryl's face. Distracted, he collided with a pole. After tossing his bike to the ground, he continued his journey on foot until he arrived at a resort. There, he met 3 boys playing with a skateboard. Walter had an idea and offered to trade his pull-out toy for their skateboard, and the boys agreed. Walter then entered the resort and met the owner, who was in a hurry, organizing his belongings in his car. The owner informed Walter that he had dropped Sean off in a neighboring town a few minutes ago to search for a plane. Walter, holding 2 stones in each hand, continued his journey toward the IFI volcano. When he got there, he noticed no one was around, but an alarm sounded, indicating an emergency. Suddenly, the resort owner returned to take him out of the town, explaining that all residents had evacuated due to the imminent volcano eruption. He saw Sean standing on a plane, taking photos of the volcano. Walter and the resort owner rushed to save themselves.
Holy shit! Faster! Faster! Go faster! Oh my God!
They managed to survive the volcanic eruption with a car full of volcanic ash. Afterward, Walter called Cheryl to inform her that he had gotten a clue about Sean's schedule from the cake wrapper Sean had given to the ship's crew. He also mentioned his location near a Papa John's pizza, which reminded him of his past job there. After calling Cheryl, Walter received a text from Hernando, who informed him that if Walter didn't come to see the manager would fire Hernando. Reluctantly, Walter returned to America to explain the situation. When he got to the office, Walter saw employees packing up their belongings as many had been laid off due to the magazine's transition to an online format. The manager asked Walter for photo number 25, but since it was still missing, Walter, along with other employees, was dismissed. Walter protested, highlighting his 16 years of dedication to Life magazine and his commitment to making every cover photo a masterpiece, but the manager was unsympathetic. Hernando mentioned that many employees, including Cheryl, had been fired. After hearing this, Walter hurried to Cheryl's house to console her and to give her son a skateboard from Iceland. He arrived at Cheryl's house and was disheartened to find her ex-husband opening the door. He felt heartbroken, assuming Cheryl had reconciled with her ex-husband. When her ex-husband went to call Cheryl, Walter left the skateboard at the front door and departed with a heavy heart. At home, feeling disappointed, Walter threw away the wallet Sean had given him, as he felt there was no longer any point in searching for Sean now that he had been fired. Sitting on the sofa in front of the piano, he looked at a picture he printed that Sean sent. It dawned on him that one of the photos Sean sent was of his father's piano. His mother explained that Sean had visited their house before leaving and had left a message expressing his pride and gratitude for Walter's dedication. Sean mentioned that he was going to Afghanistan to photograph leopards in the Himalayas. Encouraged by this fact, Walter decided to keep going with his adventure and began looking into the Himalayas. After preparing, he set off for Afghanistan. During his climb, the dating app operator called, excitedly informing Walter that he had received many greetings since completing his profile. After knowing Walter was atop the Himalayas, the operator was impressed and suggested adding it to Walter's profile. Amidst their call, a man photographing animals felt disturbed, and it turned out to be Sean. Walter was overjoyed to finally find Sean after traveling from America to Greenland, Iceland, and now Afghanistan. He asked Sean about photo number 25 for the final magazine cover. Sean was confused because he had put the photo in the wallet he gave Walter along with a congratulatory letter. Realizing he had thrown the wallet away, Walter felt regret, but Sean advised him not to dwell on it. Sean asked Walter if he had any idea what photo number 25 was. When Walter shook his head, Sean said it was a shame because the photograph was a beauty. Sean then showed Walter what he saw through the camera, a snow leopard or ghost cat. Noticing that Sean wasn't taking a picture despite the rarity of the sighting, Walter asked when he was going to take the shot. Sean explained that sometimes he didn't take pictures if he wanted to fully enjoy the moment without the distraction of the camera. They decided to enjoy their time by playing soccer with the local residents. When he returned to America, Walter was detained at the airport under suspicion of being an infiltrator from Afghanistan. Walter was asked if he knew anyone who lived or worked near the airport who could vouch for him. Walter remembered the operator of an online dating application whose office was nearby. With his help, he was able to get released. The operator, who had become interested in Walter's life story, had witnessed how much his life had changed since their first phone call. Initially, his life was dull, he never went anywhere, and nothing exciting ever happened. He just commuted to work every day. His life took a dramatic turn for the better when he stepped out of his comfort zone. Upon returning home, Walter's younger sister and mother agreed to sell the piano their father had left behind to make ends meet, while Walter was unemployed. As he was about to leave, Walter's mother gave him a wallet that she had found, the same one Walter had thrown away earlier. When he checked it, he discovered that photo number 25 was indeed inside. Although it was too late to be of any use, Walter still fulfilled his promise to hand over photo number 25 to the manager before leaving. As he arrived at the office, Walter explained that Life magazine had indeed transitioned to an online format and that many employees from various divisions had been laid off, but the manager needed to remember that these employees were not just ordinary workers, but were the ones who had always worked hard behind the company's success. While waiting for the elevator with their belongings, Hernando thanked Walter for being a good boss and asked about the masterpiece photo Sean had mentioned. Walter didn't know, as the photo hadn't been printed yet. In the afternoon, Walter sat down at a cafe to update his CV for a new job. Alongside his education and work experience, he included recent exciting experiences to make his CV more colorful. When checking his email, he noticed there was a message from Cheryl's son. The boy thanked Walter for the skateboard and sent him a video of himself playing with it. A few days later, Walter went to the office to return his identity card and collect his final paycheck. Outside of the office, he met Cheryl and encouraged both of them to find new jobs quickly. He congratulated her on what he thought was her reconciliation with her ex-husband. However, Cheryl explained that Walter had misunderstood. Her ex-husband had only come over to see their child and help fix a broken refrigerator. She clarified that she had never considered getting back together with him. Walter felt relieved and nervously asked Cheryl out on a date. To his delight, she agreed. As they walked, they noticed the final edition of Life magazine, which had just been published. The cover of the final issue was dedicated to the people who made it, featuring photo number 25 or Sean's masterpiece, a photograph of Walter Mitty examining a contact sheet, sitting outside of the Life building.